The first reopening of schools in the country has commenced amid sharp criticism from different quarters. The face-to-face learning resumes amidst health risks posed by coronavirus pandemic. It is not all joy for students in the slum areas, as poor infrastructure stands in the way of quality education. Tonight, we zoom in to Kianjao Primary School, a public school in the heart of Kiandutu slum in Thika, Kiambu County, that paints a perfect picture of the huge disparity in the Kenyan education system. The arrival of the coronavirus in Kenya on 13th of March 2020 disrupted Kenyans' way of life, with the education sector taking a hit almost immediately. Schools were closed indefinitely as one of the early measures imposed by the government to curtail the spread of the invisible enemy. Seven months later, and the light turns from red to green, a go-ahead for learning to resume. However, there is a problem as parents, teachers and health experts express their concern over the level of preparedness for schools in the informal settlement. Poor infrastructure and low funding have always posed a challenge for schools in slums, but with COVID-19 pandemic rearing its ugly head, the situation has turned from bad to worse. Our endeavors to check on the level of preparedness leads us to Kianjao Primary School, right at the heart of Kiandutu slums, located in the outskirts of Thika town, Kiambu County. It is here that we find Class 8 students busy putting up final touches in their preparation for resuming learning, jubilated that at least their year will not be totally wasted.
I feel so happy. I would like to thank the government very much because of opening the schools. I'm very much prepared.
Mimi niko na time hard sana. Home ni mimi mkubwa. Nafaa nitoe job, after hapo saa 10 ikifika naenda football. Hata sipati time ya kusoma, but nilikuwa najaribu juu chini nifanye hizo zote.
Where learning is concerned, socio-economic status of children happens to be one of the biggest hindrances into their educational success. A look at the classrooms at Kianjao Primary School paints a perfect picture of Kenyan inequality in education. Parents are hoping that even as schools reopen, child safety is put in first place. But for some schools in informal settlements, they have a long way to go. The government is talking about improving infrastructure and putting in place more desks in classrooms. But for Kianjao Primary School in Kiandutu slum, they have a long way to go, this being the clearest indication. Returning to school for children in the slums may not be all joy. The children are returning to inadequate and dilapidated infrastructure, creating a poor environment for learning, and especially in this era of the pandemic. The building's wall and roof are made out of worn iron sheet. Some classes have no windows, and one can use a window as an entry point should you find the door locked. The schools have inadequate pit latrines, and those available are in a bad taste with rusting corrugated walls and roofs. Madangene is the deputy principal at Kianjao Primary School, and she tells us adjusting the new normal, that of washing hands with soap and running water, wearing masks and keeping physical distance, is going to be a difficult one. The school has only 6 water points, which were donated by Susan Gitao Foundation, a well-wisher.
Now we have the 6 water points. We anticipate we shall have shortage of water. The supply of water is not continuous because of rationing. As you can see, we are in Kiandutu slums. So most parents, as you can see, they are not even using the masks. They are saying there is no corona. So the teachers will have a challenge of making sure that those children have a mask.
The school community, led by the school management, fears that they may encounter learning hitches due to poor infrastructure as the school is also hit by acute shortage of desks.
We have 19 classrooms, and right now the 2 classes have occupied 11, so we only have an extra 8. So if other classes are to come back, we need more classrooms. They are not enough.
A senior teacher of the school, Kefamburo, foresees a situation that the population in the public school will increase in folds due to the closure of private schools.
We are thinking that the children from those private schools might be posted to a school, whereby it might even bring either the children to be many in the school and adapting to the system of from private to public schools. Then we think those ones will have a problem.
For now, only 2 classes are reopening, so it might be possible to adjust the classes. But should the rest of the classes resume, it will be a disaster in waiting.
Now, even teaching those 2 classes, each teacher is having around 38 to 40 lessons just for the 2 classes. So we also request that the government to add more teachers. Should the other classes resume, I don't know how the timetable will be.
Parents at the Kenjao Primary School lament neglect by the government that has extended for years, with fears of looming health hazard due to COVID-19.
Kama hiyo mambo na social distance na ukilinganisha na shule watoto vile wako, juu shule iko na watoto wengi. Na hizi madarasa unaweza kuta kwa desk moja watoto wanakaa 3 ama 4. So to keep the distance, hapa hakuna, hatuwezi pata hiyo chance ya kuwa na social distance.
Naona hii Slums na wazazi wengi hapa hawana uwezo, hawana kazi. Sasa wanasidwa max watatoa wapi? Na hata anasidwa kupea mtoto chakula. Na serikali ilisimama ikasema watoto wakirudi shule watalete max. Kama watalete max, hiyo itakuwa mzuri.
The stark reality is that for some children, they might not join their colleagues back at school due to lack of uniform, while others lack fees. For folks in slums, unemployment is a way of life.
We have challenges of even parents not being able even to buy the uniform. And especially at this time that during this COVID-19 era, we've seen children overgrowing, even they're overgrowing in size. And when they overgrow, that tells us that we are able to, or the parents will always think about buying new uniforms.
It goes without saying that students in the informal settlements often encounter a rough path due to the social and environmental challenges. The fear has been that not all children will resume school, as some have been engaged in child labor and other social vices.
We are not sure if they will all come back. Right now, most of them are engaged in business on behalf of their parents. Some are just doing on their own.
Kuna mambo na drugs. Kuna mambo na sexual violence. Kuna mambo na watoto kudrop out kwa shule kwa sababu ya kukosa lishe.
The government had set aside 1.9 billion shillings for making specialized desks, but in such schools, this will be misappropriated priority as they have no classes. All said and done, the life of a child needs to be given the first priority. Concerted efforts are needed to solve a cocktail of challenges that face the children living in informal settlement. The welfare of children living and studying in informal settlement has for long been left at the mercies of well-wishers and donors, with the question being, what is the stake of the Ministry of Education in public schools? All right, we hope that the government will intervene in that particular situation on the issue of disparity when it comes to school infrastructure. Now, let us look at our word of the day tonight, which is the word inequality. It means it is a situation in which opportunities are not shared equally between